AI is getting out of control.
In Soviet Russia, car drives you.
Let's talk about it. So I came across an article that I thought was worth talking about. And it's about a Sony AI patent that will help players, but in a strange way. Now, I haven't read the article. This was actually brought to my attention by a fellow content creator. His name goes by 8-Bit Closed Fist. He's a great content creator. I've been following him. He's puts out some really good takes. Some I agree with, some I don't, but he's great. If you want to find out more about his content, please go take a look in the description below. I have his information there, and you can go subscribe to his channel. But without further ado, let's read this article by VGC, also known as Video Game Chronicles. If you want to read the article for yourself, I will also have that information in the description below. So this article posted by VGC, I believe it wasn't posted too long ago. It was on the 6th of January, actually. Says Sony AI patent will see PlayStation games play themselves when players are stuck. AI generated ghost player assistants would help out players who can't progress in a game. I'm gonna have my thoughts about all of this after we read the article, okay? I have things to say about this, but let's continue. Sony has patented a new technology that would see PlayStation games play themselves with the help of AI. As described in patent documents, Ghost Player would see players call an AI-generated ghost version of the player character, which could either play out the solution to a particular part of the level or complete it entirely. The patent was originally filed in September 2024, but the World Intellectual Property Organization published an international status report on the patent this week. For example, if a player were stuck on a puzzle in an Uncharted game, the guide mode would seemingly present an AI-controlled Nathan Drake, demonstrating the solution before the player did it themselves. The complete mode would simply complete the section for the player. Modes in games that assist with puzzle and combat challenges are common. Many games will allow players to skip encounters or lower the difficulty if they find them too challenging, and puzzle games often include a hint system for those who are completely stuck. However, some modern Sony titles, such as God of War Ragnarok, have been criticized for giving the player too much assistance with puzzles due to NPC companions loudly hinting at the solution to puzzles as soon as they begin. And they provide some little diagram here. I'm not going to pretend to understand what any of this means, but Figure 3. It is claimed that the AI model would be trained on existing footage of the game instead of being a pre-recorded series of inputs set by a developer. The AI-generated Ghost Player system appears to be an evolution of the PS5 Game Help system, which was launched alongside the PlayStation 5. When supported, the PS5 Game Help could provide players with guidance via images or video via the PS5 card system, which can be called up in-game. While not used widely, the system has been praised by PlayStation fans who enjoy hunting trophies due to the convenience of not having to call up a separate guide on another screen, such as a phone. And then they give more of, I guess, how the system works and how all of this functions in this other figure. Sure. It is worth noting that there is no evidence that Sony has plans to use this technology in future hardware, and that patents like this have been filed by the firm and many others for years without any intention for use. AI-powered in-game assistants are becoming more common across all technology. Last year, Microsoft introduced Copilot for Gaming, which it called an AI-driven sidekick that was designed to be your personalized gaming companion. The system was pitched as a coaching tool for players who are less experienced with video games. One example shown at the time was a Minecraft player asking Copilot for Gaming what they could do with wood. Another example shows the player on the Xbox mobile app asking AI, "I want to get back into Age of Empires 4, can you install it?" The AI then installs the game for the player and offers to give a recap of what happened the last time they played the game. Alright, so I have things to say, and I'm gonna say these things now. I come from a generation of gamer. I've been playing games for quite some time. Okay, I've been playing games since the Sega Genesis. And I don't know if you guys know, but Sega Genesis games and all of those games from back in the day are significantly difficult. And part of, I guess, what gives us, the gamers, right, like the satisfaction of completing a game is actually going through it without any help. I'm of the, I guess, the mindset that I don't want help. I don't want someone to tell me how to play the game. I want to figure it out for myself. Unless it's to a point where I've been banging my head over it for like 5-10 hours and I still can't understand it. I might go and look for like a simple hint that will help me. But for the most part, I usually try to figure things out by myself. I don't try to like look up any kind of guides or anything like that, unless it's a game. Look, I'm contradicting myself a little bit here because I played a game called Please Don't Touch Anything, and that game was, how was I supposed to get 132231? When what? Put in the code 8367 on the number pad. What number pad? Sure, yeah. I totally was gonna get this. Insane. Okay, I don't think that I could have even gotten half of the endings unless I looked it up, because that was crazy. But that was insane. I'm contradicting myself.
It's a contradiction.
But for games like I guess I want to say like puzzle adventure games or adventure games like God of War, things like that, I personally don't really like to be told how to play the game, right? Or even if it's I don't really think first person shooters fall in this category, to be honest, because it's just you see and you shoot practically. But for games like that, like I think the best example of this in recent times of a game that came out that kind of went completely on the other side of you know, asking for help is a game called Hell Is Us. I still haven't beaten that game, but that game literally doesn't tell you what to do. It doesn't handhold you. It doesn't tell you, oh, go here and do this. You literally have to get into the game. You have to read. You have to, you know, look at your surroundings. You have to pay attention to what it is that you're interacting with in order to progress in the story, right? And it literally does absolutely nothing to tell you what to do next. Now, that can get frustrating for players because I think what some people like is to then be handholded and to say, oh, this is your next marker. This is where you gotta go. This is what you gotta do. But for me, playing that game, it was a mix of emotions. I got frustrated. I got annoyed. I didn't necessarily really know what to do. But in turn, what then happened is I started to go back and I started to look more carefully at certain things and I started to figure out the puzzles for myself. In doing that, it provided a sense of, it's a weird sense, right? It's like, oh, I figured this out. I did this, me, not anybody else, but me. And I was able to do this with critical thinking, by looking at my surroundings, by taking context clues and figuring things out, right? And I think that stuff like this generally just makes gaming even worse from my perspective. I don't necessarily know how people feel about this, but I don't think that this should be something that should be implemented in games at all. And from a gamer's perspective, I don't think that it makes games any more enjoyable. It kind of like takes away from the satisfaction of being involved in a game, from you know, to get involved in the lore, to understand, you know, the world that you're partaking in. And it's an interesting conversation with the onset of all of this crazy AI stuff that's happening nowadays. You know, like it's getting bad. I thought this was interesting, and I just wanted to share sort of my thoughts on it. And I don't necessarily think, I don't know how much of AI. Ooh, Jesus Christ! Excuse me, I just burped. I don't know how much of the AI they're implementing into this kind of help system. I don't agree with it. And this is like, again, this is me going back to, you know, my boomer mentality of where you played Sega Genesis games for hours on end and it didn't handhold you, and when you died you had to start from the beginning and you had to take what it was that you learned in order to progress further. Sega Genesis games they're a lesson in torture. Okay, I think Sega Genesis games is probably like any Sega Genesis game, even Sonic. You play that and you understand why people from that era like Elden Ring and Soulsborne games, because it's literally a lesson in torture. But what those games do and what they teach you is literally how to think critically about the things that you're interacting with. It forces you to ask questions. It forces you to be like, oh, maybe I'm approaching this in the wrong way. Maybe if I approach it in a different way, I might get a different outcome, right? Like, I think that's the crux of what makes video games, man. And removing that is essentially just destroying what a video game is supposed to do. I don't know. Look, that's just my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel. Like, this is a shorter video. I want to get more into like conversations about things like this within the gaming sphere, gaming news, and things like this. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I really want to know what you guys have to say, what you guys think about this. So please let me know in the comments. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Shorter video. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk very soon. Peace. Much love. I will catch y'all in the next one. Have a great day. Have a great tomorrow. And more content coming soon. Love you.